Today, we're going to break down the story of McKinsey Company, one of the most influential and, secretive firms on the entire planet. All right, let's just jump right in. Think about it. From the world's biggest boardrooms all the way to the White House, McKinsey's influence is just everywhere. It's virtually unparalleled. And yet, so many people have no clue what they actually do. So yeah, let's peel back that curtain. So, at its core, what is McKinsey? Well, it's a management consulting firm. It was founded way back in 1926 by a professor, James O. McKinsey. And his mission was pretty simple. Solve the most pressing, the most complicated business problems for companies that just can't figure it out on their own. Basically, when a corporation has a massive five-alarm fire of a problem, they call McKinsey. And if you look back, their history is just studded with these moments of quiet but absolutely immense influence. Get this. Back in the 1950s, they helped the White House organize its staff, and that actually led to the creation of the Chief of Staff role we all know today. Then, flash forward to the 1970s, they helped create the universal barcode. Yeah, that barcode, the one on literally everything you buy. They forever changed how we shop. So that begs the question, right? What is it about their advice that's so sought after? Why are clients willing to shell out millions and millions of dollars for it? What is their secret sauce? Well, for starters, it's the people. McKinsey goes out and recruits these truly elite individuals. We're talking people known for their insane intellectual ability, their business savvy, their creative thinking. The firm has more than 30 Rhodes Scholars on staff, at least 6 Olympians. It's often described as being like getting a PhD on top of your MBA. Just the best of the best. And those brilliant people all follow a very specific playbook. This right here, this is their core methodology. It's a super structured approach, and it's built on 3 key pillars. First, everything is fact-based. All their analysis is grounded in cold, hard data. No fluff. Second, it's hypothesis-driven. They basically form an initial answer, a guess, and then they test it like crazy to see if it holds up. And third, it's structured. They take these massive, overwhelming problems and just break them down into logical, manageable pieces.
And really, that's what clients are paying for. It's been called a SWAT team of analysts that is at your beck and call. For a pretty hefty fee, companies get this dedicated team of brilliant minds just laser-focused on solving their toughest challenges. And a lot of the time, the goal is efficiency, making organizations as effective as possible. Now, that can sometimes mean making some really tough and, frankly, unpopular decisions.
Okay, but here's where the story gets even more interesting. McKinsey's true power? It might not even be its current consultants. It might actually be its vast and incredibly powerful alumni network. Seriously, their alumni are everywhere. They're leading some of the most powerful organizations on the entire planet. We're talking about titans of industry, people like Sundar Pichai at Google. And of course, people like Sheryl Sandberg, the former COO of Facebook. So here's where it gets really interesting. This creates what people have called a virtuous circle of fees and engagements for the firm. Because you see, these former consultants who are now in these major positions of power, like James Gorman, the CEO of Morgan Stanley, they often turn around and hire McKinsey for their own companies. It's this incredible machine that just feeds itself, cementing their status as a global force with former colleagues in the absolute highest echelons of power.
And that influence? Oh, it's not just limited to the business world, not at all. It extends deep into politics. And it's on both sides of the aisle. The alumni list includes Republican senators like Tom Cotton and Ben Sasse, and also really prominent Democrats like Pete Buttigieg, Susan Rice, and Chelsea Clinton. They're everywhere.
But, and this is a big but, all of this incredible influence, when you combine it with a culture of intense secrecy, well, it comes with a much darker side. A side that's filled with controversy and, yes, scandal. All right, so to understand the controversy, you have to understand their business model. For years, McKinsey has operated under this policy of no credit, no blame. What does that mean? Well, clients take all the credit for the successes, and McKinsey neatly avoids any blame for the failures. They just argue that, hey, we're only in the advice business.
And this creates a really stark contrast, right? On one hand, you have their stated mission to solve the world's most complicated problems. But on the other hand, you have this much more cynical view, which says their real role is to just provide cover, helping executives make a decision they've already made by backfilling a report.
So what happens when their advice or when their alumni are tied to an absolute disaster? Well, that no-blame policy has been tested and tested heavily. Over the years, the McKinsey name has popped up right alongside some of corporate America's most sensational scandals.
Just look at Jeff Skilling.
He was a former McKinsey consultant who went on to become the CEO of Enron, and, well, we all know how that ended, with its infamous collapse. Or how about Rajat Gupta? This guy went from being the managing director of the entire firm to being convicted of insider trading. Now, to be clear, McKinsey as a firm was never legally implicated in these scandals. But the fact that their DNA was so deeply embedded in these companies, it definitely raised some serious questions about their influence.
And lately, it's gotten even more direct. The firm itself, not just its alumni, has been right in the hot seat. They got tangled up in a massive government corruption scandal in South Africa. They've taken a ton of heat for advising authoritarian state-owned firms in places like China and Saudi Arabia. They've even faced accusations of conflicts of interest with their own internal, multi-billion-dollar hedge fund. So all of these challenges, they're really forcing this famously secretive firm to change. And it raises a huge question. Is McKinsey finally having its moment of reckoning?
Now let's be real, you shouldn't count them out. Make no mistake, they are still an absolutely dominant force. Right now, McKinsey serves more than 90 of the top 100 corporations on the entire planet. That's staggering.
But to feed the beast, as they say, and to maintain that level of dominance, they've had to completely evolve. Think about this. Just 15 years ago, core management consulting was 75% of their business. Today, it's only a quarter. They've had to move aggressively into totally new areas like tech, data, and AI. And this quote really says it all. A key figure at the firm admitted, "Mystique is not a good thing anymore. People don't like secrecy, and we have to change with that." So you're seeing this growing recognition, even from the inside, that the old model of just operating in the shadows, it might not be viable anymore. That mystique that used to be such a huge asset is now becoming a liability. And that, right there, gets to the absolute heart of their challenge. Their entire institution is built on a foundation of trust and discretion, a foundation that critics are now saying was maybe, just maybe, misplaced.
And so, that leaves us with a big critical question, not just for McKinsey, but for the future of global business and power. As the world demands more and more transparency, can a firm that was built on secrets actually survive?